Hey Scott. Hey Scott, how you doing?
Doing good, but how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey.
What time? Maybe. Okay. Sorry, I've got Gary over.
Okay, nice. What a
So yeah, we went over.
beautiful
Do what?
scarf.
This is it's a company that's based out of Dallas. It's called Two Blind Guys.
Yeah?
Um, they're a pair of brothers, and they have a genetic defect that caused them to go blind, I think, when they were in their teens or 20s. And so they started up kind of a nonprofit. And my mom got me this several years ago. Look how long that damn thing is.
Yeah, very nice.
Yep. Um, and so the, their profits go towards finding a cure for that particular genetic defect.
Wow. That's neat.
Yep. So I don't where it's something I can't run through the washer,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
right.
Well, I probably could if I had one of those, one of those mesh bags that, women wash their pantyhose in. Um, they're unmentionables.
They're unmentionables. Yeah,
So I don't wear it very often, and it's covered in cat fur. But
gotcha. I sent out a few meeting reminders to people if somebody else comes in.
how's James feeling? I know he was sick last week.
I think you might be feeling better. I don't
I see
know.
Gizmo.
You do? Yeah.
Oh,
Gizmo.
yeah, yeah. Gary came over Thursday night, um, and then last night I was getting ready to cook dinner, and um, my friends Jennifer and Jason invited us to come over, so I doubled what I was going to cook and took it over to have dinner with them. Um, and then of course we only ate half of it. Isn't that the way it goes? And we played cards till after 11 last night.
Oh, that's
So,
fun.
so I was up pretty late. So and then just been kind of a bum this morning. Didn't get out of bed till 8:30 this morning, which is
That's
like
late. That's late for you.
that that is late for me. But it was pretty late, by the time we got home and went to bed. It was way past my bedtime. So I
Hmm.
still got a full night in. Um, and woke up a little bit late this morning and had some coffee, and we've just been sitting on the couch. I just took a shower just a few minutes ago. Got to get cleaned up for, if I'm being recorded here.
Took a shower today as well for the first time in a while.
I take a shower every day.
Good practice.
I just, and I have to shower before noon, because if I don't shower before noon, I will not shower that day. And then
Yeah.
by 8 o'clock that night, I feel gross. Even if I'd
I'm,
had a bath the night, even if I had a bath the night before and just went straight to bed afterwards, I still feel gross.
yeah. I don't like feeling gross. I hate going to bed messy.
Yeah. It's like, ew, I feel greasy and dirty. Yuck.
Yeah. Got a good shower today. Scrubbed everywhere.
Well,
In
that's
between my
good.
toes. I meant in between my toes. Scrubbed in between my
Okay.
toes.
You should scrub in between your toes, and you should scrub in any crevice every time you shower. Washing your butt is not gay. I'm sorry. It's not. That's mandatory. Looks like you shaved too.
Yeah, I did. I did. Paid off. Just use the clippers. I haven't shaved with a razor in a long time.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It's a little dark in your living room there, so
Hmm.
it's a little hard. Yeah, no, I did not shave today. I can skip one day, but I can't skip more than that. I don't know how you guys do it. I start to itch,
Hmm.
and there's nothing worse than going,
Nobody else is in the waiting room. What time is it?
I got five after, but mine's always a little off.
Might be just me and you, pal.
No, that's cool.
We'll see.
Amber's usually a few minutes late. She runs on,
Amber
gay
time.
standard time. Gay standard time. Found out from my friends last night. I told them I'd be there somewhere between seven and 7:30, and it was like 7:35 when we got there. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we just call that Scott standard time. We always know you're going to be later than you said you're going to be." Like that's why I gave myself a 30-minute window.
That's smart.
And I was still 5 minutes later.
Hmm.
But hey, when you're taking over, I made more of that potato soup that
Ooh,
I'd made the day
yummy.
the day before, and then I had broiled a top sirloin, and we chopped it up to go on a salad with some dried cranberries and fresh blueberries
Yummy.
and a blood orange vinaigrette.
It sounds delicious.
It was, but everybody, the soup's all gone. Only I had a bite of salad, and Gary had an entire bowl of salad, but the other two didn't have any salad at all. It was like chopped up an entire bell pepper and half a purple onion and half a Roma tomato and some mushrooms, and basically nobody ate it. So I'm cooking tilapia for lunch, and we're gonna have that with salad.
Yum. Yummy. I don't know what I'm having for lunch yet.
So, well, you have to segueing into our topic for the day. Well, you have to be mindful about what you're eating.
You do. That was a good segue. Let me give James a quick call and then we'll get started. If I can
Okay.
get him on here. He may be sleeping.
Well, tell him Santa is watching because he sees you when you
Hey
were
James, how
sleeping.
you doing, man? Okay, nice. Me and Scott are in the meeting if you want to join us. Alright. I woke him up.
Okay. Sounds like if he's napping at this time of day, it sounds like he's still not feeling great.
Probably not, yeah.
Do we know what he's got?
I saw him a few days ago. He didn't look that bad. He didn't seem
Okay.
he didn't seem too sick.
Was it the flu? Is it COVID?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I know he had something. He's been sleeping quite a lot. So no meeting next week. We're gonna take a week off.
Yeah, it's because that's the 23rd.
Right.
Yeah. So I figured, yeah, Christmas. Not that I'm doing anything for Christmas, but I figured everybody would have stuff going on or last minute shopping to do.
I'm not doing anything easier, but I thought it'd just be easier for our group if we just didn't have a meeting that day. I'll be hanging out. I'll be around. We can talk on the phone, but I don't know. Something about observing the holiday just seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, I think people are going to be busy with other stuff. So it'll be, I mean, picking it up the following weekend will be right before New Year's. But that's still that's actually a good time for us to have a meeting because of all of the temptations that you'd have during the celebrations for New Year's and coming down from either the Christmas high or the Christmas drama, depending on family. Um, so that'll be a good time for us to pick things back up. So I'm fine with skipping. Yeah, my with me not having any family up here, Christmas for me is opening the three boxes I got, one from my aunt and two from my mother via FaceTime. That's how we do Christmas.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to have any kind of Christmas, to be honest. My mom wants to get me over there 3 nights during Christmas week, and I told her, no, let's just do it all in one night. There's no reason to have so many nights of Christmas. I think she just wants her house
Yeah, you're not
full.
you're not Jewish. You don't need, the 8 nights of Hanukkah.
Yeah, I'm think I'm going over there tomorrow night for dinner.
Cool.
And we might go see,
Nice.
might go to the Fayetteville Square, see the lights. Something she wants to do.
Nice.
Oh, or James is trying to get in, and I'm not watching the waiting
Yeah,
room.
and I don't get the alerts.
There he is. There he is. What's up, James Groom? Hey, buddy, say something. I don't think we can hear you.
I don't
There you are. Hey,
There he
Josh.
is.
got my
But
fancy mute button.
James, I hate to tell you this, but he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
Mhm. It's John. Outside your gift, outside your door with gifts. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I set an alarm. I don't know why that didn't wake me up. You
Because you're
woke me up.
retired. So
Uh,
James, here's another segue into our topic for today. You need to be mindful of the appointments that are on your calendar.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Whew.
Let's get it started. Today's meeting topic is mindfulness against addiction. And we want to discuss what it means to have mindfulness, how we can increase our awareness of what's affecting and impacting our lives. Um, if you're mindful of something, then you're gonna, and it's something negative that you do, you're gonna have more of a defense against it, and you're gonna be, um, well, it brings awareness to your mind, and it's more of a concept you're working on instead of ignoring the fact that you drink 3 Red Bulls a day or smoke 100 cigarettes a day.
Yeah, yeah.
First of all, if you smoke 100 cigarettes a day, you have a problem. That's a bit much.
And you should be famous.
Butchered
Uh,
cigarette commercials.
Yeah.
Marlboro Man there. That's you could definitely probably be their social media influencer if you're going through that much. So no, I mean, especially during this time of year, you've got to be mindful about what's going on around you. The holidays can be either a big upper with lots of parties going on, which may lead you into temptation to drink, smoke,
Yeah, lose
have more
control.
rituals. Um, and but it can also, the holidays for some people are also can be a little depressing. And so it could also tempt you into doing things. Um, and just so that you try to be as happy as the people around you.
Hmm.
So everybody's reaction is a little bit different to the holidays, I think. But when it comes to addiction, it's probably, and you guys could probably speak to this better than I could, it's probably one of the hardest times of the year.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
James, you're going to catch flies.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just brain farted.
Okay. Those are really good points, Scott. It can kind of go one way or another. Maybe you get too excited about the holidays and you think, oh, well, a glass of wine won't kill me. And, I don't have to lose my total sobriety. I can just have one glass of wine. But that's just, it's a temptation that's gonna be that slippery slope. But yeah, like you said, if you get a negative mood from other people celebrating, and maybe you don't have people around you, and missed out on the Christmas party, yeah, you might be more inclined to lose control, overindulge in anything. Um,
I mean, I know for me, I have a love-hate relationship with the company Christmas party. Because I'm not by nature an overly social creature. And it's tempting to use alcohol as Amber calls it, a social lubricant. Um, but also it's a company function, and we've probably all seen that guy at the company party who overindulges and makes a fool out of himself, and you don't want to be that person
no.
either. So it's a fine line to walk. So I know one of the things that I typically try to do at the company functions where alcohol is being served, I may go ahead and have um, one scotch and soda. And then after that, I just do, yes, James, I know you don't like scotch. Um, but then after that, I'll just do club soda with a twist of lime. So it kind of looks like I'm drinking, but I'm not.
Hmm. It's a nice tip for the surviving the office party. Um, if you practice mindfulness at the office party and you are the person that's maybe more observant than usual, not only are you going to see that guy making a fool of himself, you're going to be more aware of yourself and how you're presenting yourself to other people. And that might also help you hold control over those situations where you're kind of encouraged to drink just to be jolly, but it's against your wishes. It's against your wish for control.
Yeah,
Uh,
you could also do like, positive self-talk in that situation. Like, no, I don't need anything. I'm having a good enough time as it is right now. That's just me, uh, uh, the invasive thought coming in saying like, hey, you always have a lot more of a fun time if you're getting shit faced at one of these events. But you can kind of like coax yourself back off of that precipice and and to a safer point, where you're not at risk anymore. Now you've rewarded yourself with encouragement
yeah.
uh, for a job well done.
Substances typically reduce mindfulness in my experience. If I smoke a bowl of cannabis, I might think that I'm more thoughtful, and there might be this perception, oh, I can think about things that I otherwise wouldn't be able to think about. But I think you really do lose your mindfulness overall when you indulge in most substances uh, that I've tried. I've never. It's one ex, one exception might be um, a medication for attention deficit disorder. That might be the only one that might somehow benefit mindfulness, but that beer definitely is not going to make you more mindful. It's definitely going to slow your thinking and make you less aware of your surroundings, less aware of what people are trying to communicate to you. Um,
Well, I guess just to bring, current news, um, together. You guys know who Matthew Perry, the actor, is.
yes.
So he died recently. They released his cause of death yesterday, and he's been very open about his struggles with opioid addictions. Um, and so he drowned in his hot tub. Um, and one of the drugs in his system was one that helps with opioid addiction recovery. But he was also on ketamine. So he
Oh,
substituted one addiction for another.
ketamine. That's terrible. I had a feeling it was going to be something similar to that. It was an intoxication related drowning.
I did too. But it's just interesting, you're in recovery and you're, very open about your struggles with stuff and trying to help other people, and you fall into a completely different trap. And unfortunately, in this particular case, it cost him his life.
Yeah, it's a sad story. Um, Ketamine is a horse tranquilizer. I don't know too much more about it, except it's considered a dissociative. Um, I have used some dissociative chemical before, just Robitussin. Dextromethorphan is the chemical in it. It makes you feel, it's great for movies, but it completely takes you out of your body and definitely reduces mindfulness. They call it robo tripping when you drink Robitussin, and uh gosh, what a terrible way to go out, drowning in your own hot tub on horse tranquilizer. Um,
Yeah, that is definitely, that's not a drug that I had any experience with back in, my days of partying. I have had friends who have done it, and um, sometimes when they'd had a little bit too much, which they call going into a K-hole,
mhm.
I was like, why would you even chance doing that to yourself? Yes, I'll come pick you up. Yes, I'll take you home, make sure you get to bed safely, but it doesn't even sound like fun.
It's really not fun. I think people that deal with heavy emotions can be more susceptible to the dissociatives because it kind of takes you out of your body and lets you get a little bit of freedom from your emotions for a time. I think that might be one reason why people go for ketamine or things like it. Uh, but it's not that fun. It's really not. Um,
So
that's
also talking about, I guess, being mindful, especially during the holidays, for those of us who are on prescription medications for, you know, depression or anxiety or something like that, they're can be a temptation to take a little bit extra.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to, for anybody who happens to be watching who has a prescription med, if you're supposed to take one pill a day, the holidays are not an excuse to take two pills.
I mean, you're only prescribed so many, and you need that many to get you through the whole month. So if you start taking extra, one, you're throwing yourself on balance on those days you don't have anything, and two, you because you take that extra pill, your tolerance for it, your brain starts to expect that dosage, and then when it doesn't get that dosage, it just doesn't work as well. So you're shooting yourself in both feet in those scenarios
Le-
where you're taking more pills.
Leaves you with a sense of wanting rather than satisfaction. You know, only take just a few days before that completely take over, uh, where you're not even able to get that sense of satisfaction. Then you just sit there and wallow in depression, um, trying to figure out, you know, am I do I call the doc and tell him that I lost all my pills so that get some more, trying to fill that void again, and just it's a hell of a cycle. Uh, it's that way with like pretty much every kind of drug. I think a lot of addicts in general. I mean, not just like uh, addicts to hard drugs, but I mean just people with addictive personalities. That's always the thing. It's like I can I can eat uh, a big ass McDonald's meal, and then like before that meal is done, I start like kind of worrying about, am I gonna get that next McDonald's meal? And that's crazy that it can happen with something as simple uh, and whatever is food. Uh,
Well, if a food or a sugar addiction is a thing, and this time of year you know, is really bad about sweet treats.
Hmm.
Um, I know at work, it's not unusual for this time of year for there constantly to be cookies and brownies and cupcakes because everybody's making something and bringing it in to give everybody a treat. And it's like, okay, I've had, 5 cupcakes today. I'm on a sugar high.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, me personally, I'm not big on sweets. But I still find it hard to pass by, a plate of homemade fudge. Like, okay, well, I'll just have one more.
And we've got on this note, we've got a meeting coming up. Our first meeting in 2024 is on food and sugar addiction, and overeating. Uh, so that's something we'll start to address and talk about. I know that I can tear up a bag of hamburgers and overindulge very easily when it comes to fast food, especially.
And
Something about
what is that? The tagline for Lay's potato chips? You can't eat just one.
can't have just one. Yeah, yeah. So we'll discuss that eating enough versus overeating, and we'll discuss that in January. Next week, by the way, no meeting. We'll take the week off next week.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas.
or in your case, John, Meowie Christmas.
James got a kitty too. James gets a meowy Christmas.
uh-huh. My cat's awesome.
All cats are awesome.
I think some of them might be fuckers.
Hey, I like the catitude. Somebody needs to put me in my place periodically.
uh,
Even if my place is sitting on the couch with a cat in the lap. Somebody's got to put me in my place.
Yeah.
Got a
So,
lot of joy. Go ahead, Scott.
So, mindfulness also extends beyond, necessarily your sobriety or the holidays. It's one of those things that you need to practice all the time. I was thinking this morning as I was thinking about the meeting topic. I don't know if I've mentioned it here during these meetings before, but I've got a pinched nerve in my arm,
Mm-hmm.
and every morning when I get up and I make my coffee, the sugar is on the top shelf, and I always reach up with that arm and hurt myself. And so I started
Ouch.
to do that. It And so I started to do that this morning. It's like, hey, you've got two arms. You don't have to reach up with that arm. You can use the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But it's on your right
yeah,
hand side, so it makes sense
it's
to use
it,
that right hand arm.
especially when I'm sorry, I'm not awake until I get some caffeine in me. Um, but it, you know, mindfulness extends beyond just your addiction. Um, Although obviously that's probably the most important.
No, you're
But
right.
you've
Mindfulness
got to
is
be mindful about eating properly, about exercising properly, about your interactions with other people, and keeping in mind that when you're trying to stay sober, if you fall off the wagon, your that affects your friends and family and your pets.
It certainly does, and that's a great area to be mindful of how it affects other people, not just how it affects your life, but be mindful of your mama, your sister, people who would shed a tear if they knew you were destroying yourself. And yeah, it can impact your pets as well, certainly if you're not caring for them or exposing them to harmful chemicals. Um, it's it mindfulness is a great thing to practice in every element of life. Be and to keep it ever present, because you don't know when you're going to be walking down the street and some guy's going to say, "Oh, hey man, I got this joint. Do you want it?" And it could have anything in it. If you're not mindful of that, then you might make the wrong decision and say, "Yeah, I could really use some cannabis. I'll take it from you," and make a terrible decision. Have something horrible in it. Um, you have to be
Well, and
mindful.
that's definitely a thing these days. Is with fentanyl being so prevalent and being used to adulterate other drugs. I mean, you don't know that what you're getting is what you asked for.
Right, right.
I used to do, back in my college days, I would do MDMA, and the people that I dealt with were always pretty honest. Hey, this is cut with cocaine. Hey, this is cut with meth. Hey, this is cut with mescaline. Hey, this is cut with heroin. And I knew what I was getting, and knew the stuff is like, okay, if it's cut with heroin, oh hell no, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Um, but these days, I don't necessarily know that. Sounds really weird. Can you really trust your dealer?
I say no because they're trying to make money off of you, so I don't trust any dealer that I have.
Yeah, I said it sounds really weird, but it felt like back in the '90s you sort of could, and from what I'm seeing these days, so I don't know that you can.
I worry about my marijuana uh, being sprayed with something, possibly to alter it to make it a more intoxicating substance. But I have concerns about that too. It's one reason why I'm chasing that medical card. Got to mail off some money for it. But yeah, if you're buying something off the street or buying it uh, outside of a dispensary or outside of a pharmacy, you don't know what's in it. Uh, so, yeah, the great reason to not do drugs that you acquire from some guy or girl. And so, talking about this stuff, we are increasing our awareness of it and our mindfulness of it, and the fact that it's possible to have. I think you could probably turn fentanyl into a spray and spray it onto a flower, a cannabis flower, uh, and so it's a real concern for me.
There was a news article recently on CNN, and I don't remember which state it was in, but there was like 7 kids in an elementary school that got sick because they ate something,
Oh
and
no!
it was fentanyl laced.
Oh,
I don't know that any of them died, but I know that at least 4 of them had to go to the hospital. It's like 7 kids.
that's terrible. Would you start to guess that it were a food service worker, cafeteria worker that accidentally got into the food?
No, it was definitely like candies that they
Candies.
had. So my guess would be it was probably something that one of their family members had, and the kid just, picked it up and brought it to school thinking it was, gummy bears or Tic Tacs or something like that.
Hmm.
So I haven't seen that. It was a very limited news article on it. Um, but it is kind of scary. But there's also out of New Jersey a couple of months ago, a kid died from his at his home daycare um, because the owners of the daycare were selling stuff on the side that was laced with fentanyl, and the kids managed to get into it.
Scary stories. It's one reason why I want to talk when I have kids. I want to talk to them about chemicals, drugs. I want to show them all the pictures, show them what it looks like, teach them to never
Just
take anything into their body that's not nutritious and that's not necessary, like oxygen.
just don't show them the old 1980s Nancy Reagan "Just Say No" commercials where they crack an egg going, this is your brain on drugs, and they fry the egg, because that didn't do anything for me when I was a kid.
Uh,
Maybe one
yeah.
egg.
Go ahead. Sorry, James.
Maybe one egg.
Made you hungry?
Like, hey, I
Yeah.
like fried eggs, so it sounds good to me.
Um. Yeah. I hope to keep them from ever making any of the mistakes that I have made in my life. I wish I didn't take anything except for pure air into my lungs. Um, I don't want my kids to use cannabis. I don't want my kids to use any drugs.
Okay,
Uh,
so John, you're going to have to be mindful. Your kids are going to try something.
Eventually, hopefully they'll be out of my
Every
house before.
everybody, even if even if it's only a vodka sour, they're going to try something at some point in their life. It's, all you can do is give them some guidance on how to be careful about what they do.
Yeah, education that they don't need that stuff. I want to try to educate them that if you start using it, then you might think you need it to get by, um, to get through the date, the party. You might think you need it, but you just don't need it. I want it, the things I use, nicotine, cannabis, I don't need those things. And I want to teach my kids that too. I wish I could realize that, increase my mindfulness about the fact that I don't need any of the things that I use. Um, the it would behoove me to increase my mindfulness of it, and I try to consider how much I'm smoking, how many packs of cigarettes per week I buy, and it helps. It does help.
That in mind, because I know that you've recently been basically setting yourself a timer for when you can have a cigarette.
Pretty much, something.
Um, it is possible to overly obsess about stuff, and that's not necessarily healthy as well.
Overly obsessed? No, it wouldn't be healthy. What I like about tracking it is that I can put a numerical value to my progress instead of just saying, "Oh, I think I'm doing better. I think I'm smoking less." If I actually have something to look at, a number, then I just feel a little more hopeful that I can get out from under addiction to nicotine, and it does something for me. I don't know.
I think everybody's different, on that. It it going back to the food thing. People can over obsess about the number of calories they're consuming, or about the number of calories that they're burning when they go to the gym. For people who are, kind of addicted to exercise, I mean, probably goes back to kind of an OCD thing for some people. Um, it, you know, it it's not completely healthy to micromanage your life, even when you're trying to quit something. Does that make sense?
Not overly healthy to micromanage your life. Uh, Somebody's got to micromanage it. Otherwise, I get out of control. Otherwise, I'll
It
be.
Well,
No, somebody has to manage it, not micromanagement.
you can keep setting yourself up for failure if you overdo it.
Yeah,
Put
if you,
all
I
put
can
all
see.
these
Go ahead.
requirements and expectations and whatnot. Um, whereas I don't know if you kind of just take a step back and know that you're doing your best, uh, and encourage yourself at the same time. Acknowledge your successes whenever you are going a while without a smoke, rather than look at the clock and go, oh, it's almost time for me to have another smoke. You can just kind of forget about it altogether, and succeed in that capacity.
Well, I know James John said something to me the other day, that I found interesting, because he's been trying to pace himself on his nicotine intake, and he's found that if he gets lost in a video game, he doesn't need a cigarette for hours.
Yeah.
But then he's also feeling bad about the fact that he's addicted to the electronics.
Very
And
addictive.
so trading one addiction for another.
Pretty much, I just kind of move energy from one activity or hobby into another. If I weren't playing video games, I might very likely be putting more energy into just smoking up a bunch of tobacco. Because one element of smoking for me is that it cures boredom. It's just something to do. I can go outside and just do something, and I'm no longer just sitting around staring at the wall or talking to my cats. I'm outside doing something.
Okay,
And
as long as the cats are not talking back to you, that's okay.
I think I often need something to do with my hands and just some kind of activity. And there are other things that are healthier for me than video games, maybe like cooking. If I put a bunch of energy into learning some new recipes, cooking up some good food for myself, I feel a lot better about that. But yeah, lately with my addictions, it's just swinging energy from one category to another. Uh,
Hey, I can send you over some recipes. I think I already have a few times, but I can
yeah,
send you over way more.
you have. I need to do some grocery shopping.
So James, I found one that you'd probably like.
Yeah.
It's
What's
it's asparagus that's wrapped with puff pastry and bacon.
I like all these things.
I figured you probably would. Hey, a cooking addiction is not necessarily a bad thing, as long as you're not throwing a bunch of stuff away.
Uh, yeah, I think it's important to have something that you can get excited about. Uh, and cooking is one of those that you, I mean, essentially you put a loaf in the oven, uh, and while that's happening, you're you're letting yourself know like, hey man, that it's gonna be incredible whenever I eat that awesome loaf of bread that I'm making right now.
Hey,
Uh,
homemade carbs are the best.
yeah.
So if
Um,
you're cooking bread, I'm flying over.
James is cooking steak.
yeah, always cooking steak. But yeah, having something that you can be excited about in life and always can help spend those moments where you might be more tempted to use something or try to go for that next high or that giant coffee with sugar in it, you know. Uh, it
So,
you don't want to leave yourself stagnant without anything to be hopeful for.
so James, I know you were sick last weekend. So how mindful were you of about doctor's orders? You know, drink plenty of fluids, get lots of rest.
A lot of rest part for sure. I don't think I slept that much in a week in my life. Um, yeah, uh, I think I had a reasonable enough appetite as well, you know. Uh, but I wasn't drinking coffee. Um, and I, you know, that's like a good sign that you can tell if I'm not feeling good, if if I don't have a pot of coffee going on, you know, if I'm not feeling good enough to even do something like that, you know, and I'm just sitting there feeling shitty about myself, feeling sick in bed, feeling anxious, you know, and the number of side effects of some kind of flu, uh, um, to really just kind of take you off your horse, you know, and then you can kind of forget how to even get back on that good feeling that and what it is like to feel good. Um, so I was real happy to be coming out of that because I did have, you know, a few days there where I was like, is this just what it's always like now? You know, I'm gonna feel depressed or ill, you know. But yeah, sure enough, it went away, and then I got to be a crazy person again and enthusiastic about life, and uh, you know, even just having that as a hobby, just trying to do good in your life, you know, can be as fulfilling as you need to give you that morale boost rather. Uh,
I know the last time I was majorly sick was like September when I had that nasty bout of COVID. Um, and I'll admit my mother helped keep me mindful. She's like, you need to go to the store and get yourself some soup. You need to get yourself some Tylenol. You need to buy some Gatorade. You need to, you know, the things that mothers say to you when you're sick.
uh,
Um, and uh, you know, I don't necessarily know that we all are very good about caring for ourselves when we need to.
right.
Um, and you know, that's something that you got to do. It's also, you know, if you have an addiction to whatever it is, you know, you need to listen to your body. Yeah, your body's going to tell you, hey, you've had too much. Hey, you have a hangover. Maybe you shouldn't have done that last night. Um, you
Yeah.
know, uh, your body's going to tell you when it's unhappy with what you're doing to it.
And then it's pretty good about telling you stuff that you might need and not really have been tending to uh, as much, like just say from a nutritional standpoint. Like I got a craving for some salsa the other day. It was one of the first foods that I ate coming back out of it. And it was like I could tell that my body was needing some kind of fermented tomato, uh, and ate it, felt great doing it. Uh, and it's like, wow, I really did enjoy that. I enjoyed that a lot more than I normally think I enjoy, like some chips and salsa. But you can kind of get stuck and feeling not not good about something, as well as you can get stuck feeling good in that vein of something like that. Like I was sitting there like, man, this is great. This is great chips and salsa. You know what I mean? Like it was just reminded me how good it all could even be, and it's something as simple as tomato juice.
Yeah.
Well, I remember as a kid, when I was sick, Mom would make me a mug of um, chicken broth,
Yeah.
which it was absolutely delicious at, when I was sick. But I would make it a few times when I wasn't sick because I remembered how good it was when I was sick, and it's gross.
Yeah.
It only
Right.
tastes good when I'm sick.
Yeah. Gotta listen to those cravings
Your
and
body, your
then do the
body's
ones
telling
that are
you when it
good.
needs, your body's
Yeah.
telling you when it needs liquids or salt or protein or whatever it is.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, it's 2:45. Good meeting on mindfulness. We're gonna take it off of the live, so we'll see you later, YouTube and Facebook. We're just gonna chat privately now. We're not gonna have a meeting next week, but we will have a meeting on December 30th, and that meeting
You're still
topic.
recording.
Yes, I haven't turned it off yet. That topic is gonna be your needs, your wants, and understanding yourself. We'll see you later,
That's the
everybody.
meeting for right before.
Right, the last meeting of the year on the
Okay.
30th. The 30th.
All right, yeah. Sounds good.
All right, see you later, YouTube.